again, this is Rick with AmazingAccuracy.com. Today is September 30th, 2013, and it is 12:30 p.m. Chicago time. Yeah, I wanted to touch back on the Japanese yen, the videos that I had put out there. We were talking about the upcoming cycle, turn, and so forth. First off, unfortunately, it didn't hit on January 24th as I had expected. And we are now, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4 days. So it's 4 days now since that top was supposed to come in. And so underlying events, unknown underlying events, pushing the cycle out a few days before making that top. And then therefore, as it goes down, I would anticipate that that upcoming bottom that I had estimated around October 9th-ish might come in a little early, because when you start pushing the top out, you push the bottom in. Cycle analysis could be a little complicated if you haven't really spent any time working with it. But the bottom line is let's just say that if you had no trend at all. In other words, I apologize for just slapping my microphone there. If prices are moving sideways, if the market is sideways, it's not trending or moving in one direction or another, it's moving sideways, cycles will tend to make their tops and bottoms pretty much on the money. Okay, but if you have a strong bullish undercurrent, it will have a tendency to push the tops out a little bit, and as far as the bottoms will be pushed in. In other words, the upward momentum would have the last say over the pullback against that upward momentum. And the reverse is true for a bearish trend. The bottoms would be pushed out a little bit further, and the tops would be reined in a little bit. But anyway, I don't want to get too technical. What I wanted to do, though, is I want to kind of update you with what things are happening. If you recall, here's that daily chart of the Japanese yen. You might recognize it from the previous video. And that, I have these little numbers here to kind of give me an idea where these cycle tops and bottoms are supposed to be occurring. And remember, that we hit the 2 here. And notice, by the way, just because a cycle top or bottom is due doesn't mean it's going to be the top or the bottom. Because if you'll notice, this number 2 here is definitely not higher than that top right there. So, or this bottom here, number 3, is definitely not lower than that one way back here, which is July 8th, 2013. So it's not, the cycle tops and bottoms are just not necessarily the tops and bottoms in relation to previous tops and bottoms. They just happen to be tops and bottoms of their own right for whatever the time frame is that this is happening. So, like, for example, 4, like I said, was expected right here in this area. That would be, well, right here, sorry, would be right here. And the cursor is not pointing to the price level, it's pointing to the time. In other words, that price bar right there is September 24th. And so far as you can see, that the top now is 4 days beyond that. And what I wanted to do is point out that today, September 30th, if you'll look at that high, this is the December yen futures, by the way. The high currently is 1.0262. And if you'll notice, it's right at that line. That happens to be a 90-degree move from the low of September 11 up to September 30th. That is a 90-degree. Each one of these squares is 45 degrees. You want to know how you calculate that? Basically, you take the square root of the price, and then for 90 degrees, for example, you would want to add 0.5 to that divisor value that you got right here. So if you take the square root of the low here of 0.9943, you add 0.5, and then re-square it back again you will get a 90-degree price, and that would be that level right here. I already have it programmed into my software, so it just plots it on the chart. So that's a tip for you there, okay? The other thing too is I've applied Fibonacci fans here, which is you find the lowest close of a previous. In this case, since prices are moving up, I'm going to be looking at an inverted V formation, which is from here to here to here. It's like an upside down V, right? I call it inverted V formation, okay? Actually, I didn't invent that. It's been used all the way for decades. But you find the lowest close to start off with. There's two things you can do. You can take the lowest low and the lowest close. Do both. Sometimes it works from the lowest close, and sometimes it works from the lowest low of a particular starting point of your inverted V. So I'm not sure how this would show up on the camera here, but okay. Anyway, so you take that as your A, this would be your B, and then this would be your C. And what it would do is it's the range of B to C divided up by Fibonacci ratios. If you don't know what those are, you may want to Google it. But then you start from the close here, and you just extend the lines out through those ratios and out to where you're looking. And if you'll notice right here, the first range hit the high of today. That was made earlier this morning. And it's not only did that hit, but then of course you had the 90 degrees hit. And not only that, but you can see that it's in the green zone now. So while that wasn't, and you'll probably remember in the last video it wasn't, and I thought perhaps it wouldn't get that high, it has today reached that green zone. And it's also back in another $F date. Now this one here wasn't a $F date for September 24th, and it didn't do anything. So you're probably thinking, oh, those things are worthless. Well, if you are looking for something that's 100% accurate, I wish you the best. You'll never find it, okay? But in this case here, these things are 90% accurate. So this one here was part of the 10%, okay? Getting two of them to not work in a row, we're like at 98 point blah blah blah, you know that it's going to result in a turn. I highly believe we're going to be looking at a cycle swing top here for this $F date. This one here without the dollar sign is because of that bottom right there. That's a swing bottom. This chart's a little compressed. I apologize for that, but I wanted to get as much information in here as possible. So what am I saying? I'm saying that today's high is at resistance. I'm saying that we've been waiting for this cycle top, and it kind of pushed out, you know, 3 extra days here. But I'm still looking for this move down. And remember, I was mentioning here in the previous video around the October 9th period. Well, because it pushed the top later, now I'm thinking that cycle bottom is probably going to come in, you know, 1, 2, 3 days prior to around October 9th. I don't know, but I'm going to keep my eye open for that. If it starts to hit support around October 7th, let's say, for example, I'm going to really like, okay, we may be bottoming out, you know, for that cycle bottom. And I'll worry about it at that time, but just to give you kind of a little at what we're anticipating for the near future. So bottom line is I'm looking for this to form a top, just like you see, top here, and start moving down now so we can complete the number 5, 4 to 5 cycle move in the December yen futures. For those of you trading the yen in the Forex, it's the opposite. But remember, because the USD is mentioned first in that pair, so we'd be looking for it to go up at this time. In other words, a bottom should be in today for September 30th, and that we should start seeing prices to start rising in the Forex. All right, hey, look, open door policy here. You guys can email me if you want, got questions, whatever. I'm always happy to talk to people interested in my materials and in my videos. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. It really helps support this medium because the more subscribers, it tends to, get it pushed up higher when people are searching for this kind of information. And I certainly would appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next video. And thanks again for watching.